He came to Tampa Bay as an unheralded defenseman during a turbulent time in the franchise's history. But over the next 4 seasons, Cory, Sarich, and his teammates developed into Stanley Cup champions. On this edition of Inside the Lightning, we'll take you to a tiny farming community in Saskatchewan, where number 21 learned about the value of hard work and cultivated his passion for hockey.
Mainly, your couple mainstays here in Saskatchewan are wheat fields, which you can see in the far distance. Behind us here is the canola field, which has been swathed. He grows a few field peas, he grows lentils, he has in the past grown flax, durum, which is another type of wheat. It's a little longer grain. Most of the machinery is circa 1988 and older. And so you've got to be able to make that stuff work. And my dad is lucky enough, he's got some mechanic skills and can keep everything running. And so, it's a lot of frustration too that goes into it. You get out in the field, you start working. I know he just started swathing this field the other day, got a couple laps done, and the swather was broke down. Well, you're delayed. You're trying to race against the weather. As you can see, hasn't been very cooperative the last few days. So when the sun's shining, you got to be moving, especially at harvest time. And I don't know, you got to have I think a lot of patience to be a farmer, because there's a lot of delays that come unannounced. So I don't know if he's got the patience that it's totally required, but he's developing it.
This is a hell of a crop, Cory. I don't think you'll see a better one in this part of the country. Look at these are 25-foot swaths. Look at the size of the mother swath.
I know. I can't get over how big it is.
Look at here, son. Look at how ripe this one is. See, some of them have shelled out already. Look, here, hold your hand out. There's finished canola, ready for combining when it all gets like that. Look at how big it is. See, it never froze.
Now that's what it's supposed to look like. And how many green ones are you allowed?
You're only allowed 2% in 100 kernels.
So 2 kernels in 100?
Yeah,
being able to come and go and do things as you want. The lifestyle comes at a price, though. We're at the mercy of the weather when you're a farmer, and you have to there's busy times, like seeding and harvest are super busy. I'm an avid golfer and sportsman, like most guys, and seeding time I'm in the tractor, that's my office, and harvest I'm in the combine and the swather, and that's simply the way it is.
It's a slower pace of life, growing up on the farm here. Had a lot of time to ourselves, a lot of time to entertain ourselves, but no better place to grow up. You got to have a lot of close friends, because there aren't a lot of kids. You got to learn to get along with everyone. You seem to know everyone, and it was just a great environment for myself.
We first moved out to the farm when I guess I was 5, just starting school, and we were town kids, so it was sort of a shocker. We had to go out, and we didn't have very many chores, but we had to go out and feed the cats and dogs and small farm things like that, and not having too many people around to play with, that was a new experience as well. So we just sort of had to entertain ourselves on the farm and make our own fun.
The boys always had to help on the farm with jobs. I mean, they weren't big jobs until they got older, then they would come back. And I mean, Cory he helped with harvest swathing, and they've had to go out in the field and cultivate, and they've all got stuck and everything else. But it's been great. I think it's a good place for kids to grow up, like you experience kind of everything, and you can still go to town and be with your friends.
Being that my wife's parents were farmers and my parents were farmers,
good job,
they seen firsthand the work involved, and nothing comes easy. Like, it's just the little things that you have to do to make everything work, and the sacrifices you have to make. I think that's what kids pick up on, and the fact that our parents too spent a lot of time with us as kids. We try to do the same thing for our kids.
We always had little odd jobs and responsibilities around the farm. Not a lot. Dad never ever forced us into work. He was always encouraging us to play and do other things. I don't think he ever wanted us to grow up and become farmers, but I spent my few days cleaning bins, learned how to drive trucks, a little earlier than probably most kids, and so there's added responsibility, but yet there's a lot of little benefits too from growing up on the farm.
He was never given anything, like never handed anything. He always was just handed opportunity, and he took that opportunity and ran with it. And I think he learned from his father, who is very hardworking because he works on this farm all on his own, and he has to work hard to bring in the money, and so that's how Cory has always done his life. Like, he's always worked hard, and that's what I think he got from the farm.
I ended up putting canola on there.
Growing up here in Davidson, Bladworth area, we had ice available to us at all times, you know, for skating in the winter. I just lived at the rink, whereas I know a lot of city kids, you know, they have their slotted times and that's it. We were public skating at the Bladworth Arena, Davidson Arena. The rinks would freeze out here, or the sloughs would freeze out here in the middle of the winter, and we'd use those as rinks.
We have tapes of him when he wanted to skate in our backyard. We made some ice, and he was probably about 3 going on 4 when he put on his skates and tried to stick handle or take a puck and go around the ice. But we didn't really put him into hockey till he was 6, you know, playing, and he had to play with some older kids because there was no 6 and under team or 7 and under at that time. So he did a lot of skating, and his friends and cousins came over and played in the backyard, a lot of shinny.
My dream, believe it or not, when I had Cory and Rodney, I got married fairly young. My dream was that someday I could play hockey with my boys at a competitive level even, you know. And at the time I was playing senior hockey, and senior hockey players can play till they're 40, you know, 35, 40. And I realized, you know, if my boys were here in the community, not thinking they were going to go off to play junior and, you know, play where they did, maybe they'll be my, I was a centerman, maybe they'll be my wingers. You know, this is when they were little, you know, and this is the dream. And I knew how much fun I had growing up, that the joy it brought me. I wanted my boys to experience that too.
When I was younger, we used to get up and go to power skating before school. We'd get up, and there was a local guy from our senior team here in town, Kim McIver, and he used to get up with us, about 10 kids in the morning, and just skate us. You know, some days it'd be 30 below Celsius, and we'd be out there giving her with toques on our heads and helmets over top. And you know, it really helped. Just being on the ice all the time was a bonus.
Lots of days I packed. They have power skating before school started, so I'd pack a lunch, pack breakfast, and then they'd have power skating after school, and then they'd stay for supper because they'd have a game. And so we kind of basically lived at the rink for a lot of years.
My dad would come out of the field to watch me play ball, or he never missed a hockey game. His car always went on the road on road trips. And I wanted the boys, you know, to know that nothing will, you know, if they want to do it, I never forced them to do it, but if they want to go for it, we're there to take them and spend whatever we have to spend. Don't matter, you know, and as long as we do it, and we do it as a family and we have fun, because we all like it.
They were always there, you know. My parents hauled me all over Saskatchewan to play hockey, and then as I got older, to other provinces too. They never ever forced me into doing anything I didn't want to do. But yet they never held us back from doing anything, especially when it came to hockey, you know. We had every opportunity to get out there and play, and they were the reason why.
With the full support not only of his family, but an entire community, Cory quickly started to show he had above-average skills, and by the time he turned 15, people all over the province of Saskatchewan started to take note.
I think midget was when I really realized that I had a good opportunity to go somewhere. I played as a 15-year-old with 16 and 17-year-olds in midget AAA in Saskatoon. Things went well that year, you know, I got to play quite a bit. And then my 16-year-old year is where things took off. You know, I had a chance at being drafted the next year. I got to play on Team Saskatchewan, and I was one of the bigger kids for a change, and things just really kind of clicked then. So I would have to say 16 was the first year for me where I really thought I can maybe make a career out of this.
He got on in the Sask First program, which is Saskatchewan First, and they take the elite players, and we won the Canada Games in Alberta in, I forget what year, 95 I believe. And after that he got into the Team Canada program. He played AAA midget, he played junior. I realized, hey, you know, Cory's got some talent here, and if he loves the game and wants to pursue it, you know, I always told him, said, you know, set your goals high. Don't you know, just work as hard as you can and see where it takes you.
Unlike most of his peers, Cory didn't have to travel hundreds of miles away from home to play junior hockey. But even though he was only about an hour away in Saskatoon, he struggled at first.
Let me tell you, as a 15-year-old leaving town to go to Saskatoon an hour away, it was pretty tough. I imagine my parents could share some sob stories with you of me calling home not being too happy.
We dumped him off in Saskatoon. It was harvest time for me, and he stayed with my brother, which helped that part of it, but he had to take a bus. He didn't have his license, across town to a school. Doesn't know any, you know, the kids. Everything's foreign to him. He phones home about 2 weeks. I'm like right into harvest. The weather's perfect, and I'm grinding away, and I don't even get a chance to call him. Phone rings one night late. It's Cory, and I can tell he's crying almost on the other end. Dad, I'm so lonely up here. I said, well, son, you can come home. You can go to school here and play hockey in Davidson. But I love the hockey more. Well, I said, son, now you got a choice to make. And I trust me, son, it's going to get easier. As you get used to it, you'll make some friends. And he did. And he stuck it out, and the rest is history.
I've always been the skinny kid, and I was always a few pounds lighter than everybody. So I took my licks. I used to get run over there out on the ice a little bit, but I wasn't afraid to throw the body around too. So I was very fortunate though. As a 16-year-old, I got to play lots, playing midget, and then as a 17-year-old, my coach, you know, gave me every opportunity to play, and I think that's a big help to adjusting quickly. Is just, you know, being out there and getting some game experience. It's tough if you're riding the pine all the time, or, you know, spotted in one game and then out one game. So I was very fortunate to play a lot that year. You get a little bit of feedback through like the hockey news and things like that as to where you're supposed to get drafted, and I went pretty close to how I'd been predicted, you know, maybe late first round. Some people said second or third rounds. So it was a great experience, and I was very fortunate to get drafted when I did.
We actually missed when his name was called. I thought there was going to be a pause between the first and second round. I thought, well, now they're going to take a bit of a break. No, they just, you know, and I went off to the washroom, and my wife went to get a coffee, and we come back, and Cory was down shaking hands at the Buffalo Sabres desk. So that's kind of a neat story, but I mean, it was very exciting.
After working his way through the minors, Sarich only played parts of 2 seasons in Buffalo. With a talented lineup, the Sabres were looking to add experience, so they sent Sarich as part of a package to Tampa Bay for Chris Gratton in March of 2000.
Regan's parents were down visiting. Get a call at 11:30 at night. I'm just going to bed because I got a 3-3 that weekend in Rochester, and you've been traded to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Pack your bags, you know, thanks for everything. And I was on my way, and talk about overwhelming. That was definitely crazy.
I remember it was 12:30 at night here, or close to 1 o'clock in the morning. The wife and I were sleeping, and the phone rings, and boy, you know, we wonder what's going on now, and it's Cory, you know, and he's just all of a sudden telling us, hey, Dad, Mom, I've been traded to Tampa Bay. Well, at first, or he said to Florida, I believe was his exact words, and I thought it was the Panthers. They had a pretty good team then. I thought, but then when he said Tampa Bay, I said, oh, they're not so good. But then I thought about it, and I realized that, yeah, this could be an opportunity. But again, you just don't ever think it's going to happen.
I remember my first ever Lightning practice, and I felt like I was at training camp again. There was like 40-some guys out on the ice. Like, you didn't know who was actually going to play, who was just there filling space. So it was definitely an adjustment from Buffalo, because they had a set amount of guys. Practice long hours, but very organized. I felt a little unorganized when I got to Tampa.
He got to play a ton, which was great for him, because in Buffalo, he was up and down and never really part of the team. So, and then through the past 4 years, it's been crazy. As you know, the revolving door for the first probably year and a half that we were here, different guys coming and going and never knowing if you were going to stay here. But it's been awesome. It's been unbelievable, and to see where this team started when we were here at the beginning, to see where they are now, it's just been amazing.
Even though Cory was enjoying plenty of ice time, he still was struggling with his consistency and a lack of confidence. 2 things head coach John Tortorella and associate coach Craig Ramsey started helping him overcome when they took over the team in 2001.
every time I made a mistake, I just kind of seemed to bite on it, and it killed me for the rest of the game. Couldn't seem to get over the hump. And they just said, like, you know, you're going to make mistakes. We're going to throw you back out there. Just let it go. And that put my mind at ease a little bit, and I started doing that too. You know, just make a mistake. You know, let it hurt you for a bit, and then take what you can from it and go. And that was another big help that next year, just having them, you know, coach me through a few things. 2002, 2003, I felt, hey, I belong on this team. And then this past season, yes, but even the year before, where I did play almost the whole season, it was there's question marks there all the time.
To see Cory do that, to leave home, like, he struggled when he was 15 years old, but to see him reach, you know, all his goals, like winning the Canada Games, winning the World Juniors. We were in Switzerland for that. Being in Tampa when he won the Cup, I mean, how can it get any better? As a parent, I mean, it gives you goosebumps. You're just so excited and so proud.
It's fantastic watching him. Like I say, I don't get a lot of chance to watch him during the year besides a couple of games I catch on TV, but just even from year by year, I see him get better in that and bigger and stronger. His first couple of games in the NHL there, he was getting bounced around a bit because he wasn't too thick. But yeah, he's really progressed, and with how well he played last year and how well the team did, that's above and beyond what some people would have thought, but not what I wouldn't expect. So.
He's really grown as a player, and it's so satisfying to me to see him so happy out there. Like, he loves to go out and play, and how could you not, playing with such a great team and going as far as they did and winning the Stanley Cup? It's just been incredible.
I just want to try and keep my game where it is, you know, for the next 5 to 10 years. That'd be fantastic. So, and then keep learning. Every time we go on the ice, you're in a new situation, and you'd think after a while, and the amount of hockey we play, you'd be in every situation, but no. Something new arises every night, so just try to store those in the memory bank, and if it's a mistake, don't do it again. If it's a good thing, try and repeat it. The biggest thing for me has been coming to the Lightning, seeing what we've gone from and to what we are now. And it's absolutely amazing, and it's something I'll never forget. You know, going all the hard times, 8-1 losses, you know, trips to the minors, things like that. And I think that's made it that much more enjoyable. Being here through the bad times and then getting to enjoy all the good times. And for myself, playing every game for the last 2 seasons and not missing a beat has been just an absolute thrill.
After winning the Southeast Division and making it to the playoffs for the second year in a row last spring, Sarich and his teammates went on a run that would end up shocking the hockey world. Tampa Bay breezed through its first 2 series with relative ease, beating the Islanders in 5 games and sweeping the fabled Canadiens in the second round. Things started to get tougher, though, when the Lightning faced the Flyers in the Eastern Conference Finals.
The whole last 2 series, the 2 7-game series, the winning every other night, that was just kind of unheard of, you know, like to just win one, lose one, win one, lose one, and have it continue. That was something that I kind of always play back in my mind. Like, we're so close, you know, putting a couple wins together. We're very close, you know, maybe having a couple losses in a row too. So I think a lot about the Calgary final, but the one game in the Eastern Conference final that stands out in my mind is, you know, a game that Keith Primo ran me over about 4 or 5 times. I'll never forget that one. I was absolutely exhausted at the end of the game, but I took the, you know, the bad end of all the hits, but he had to be exhausted too, having run me over that many times. So I will never forget that game. And then I can't even remember the final game. I keep having to watch it over and over. Game 7 against Calgary. I couldn't even remember what happened in the second and third periods. And every time I watch it now, you know, it's just kind of putting the puzzle back together.
Seeing the playoffs unfold, you always think, now where's it going to stop? Like, who's going to beat them, you know? Where is it going to end? Last year, you know, they beat Washington. They went around. Then New Jersey took them down. This year, obviously, their goal is to win 2 rounds, you know, and see where it goes. Well, here they are. They win 4 rounds, and they've got the silver. And let's, you know, it can't get any better.
The celebration continued all summer long as members of the Lightning organization got to share the Stanley Cup with friends and family all over the world. Sarich brought the famous trophy back home in mid-August for a celebration that even surprised him.
I didn't know how many people to expect that day, and then with the turnout, just made everything seem that much more exciting, and there's just a whole buzz around the communities of Davidson and then here in Bladworth. I came to Bladworth, went to the bar for a drink. That was a lot of fun. The place was packed. There was a couple hundred people in there, and then came out here for the little unveiling of the sign you see behind me. They cleaned up the ditch here, and cars were parked everywhere, and there was probably, I don't know, somewhere around, I would say 300 people. Maybe a little less, maybe I'm over exaggerating, but that's what it felt like. And there was a couple quick speeches, and we unveiled the sign, and I guess this thing will be here until the paint falls off.
We thought we'd come here and he'd sign some autographs and that would be the end of it, but they got to planning this big party and this parade, and I'm like, there's only about 1,500 people in Davidson. There's not going to be very many people at this parade, and there was thousands. And it was so overwhelming to come there, and it was so organized, and we just showed up, and the support and encouragement that the community gave to Cory has been crazy. Like, everyone knows his name, and it's been so exciting for him because he knows all these people. Like, he knows everyone's face, everyone's name, and I think for him it was really emotional. Like, he got up there and he had to say something and he had to step away because I don't think he was expecting that much support from his community, but it was awesome.
I just never expected it to come to my farm. As you can see, we weren't really ready for the Stanley Cup, but we had a great day. And I mean, people from all over came, other provinces, and there was even a lady there from New Zealand, which was really exciting too. She was visiting, but she was pretty excited to be here. So it was just, I don't know, awesome.
We're small town, we're small everything. And you always think you have to take a back seat to the bigger cities, the bigger organizations. Well, this is our day in the sun. Like, I mean, I knew that the people were going to turn out because Cory is community. Like, that's how he was raised. And everybody supports each other in a small community. That's the only way we can survive. And seeing Cory, you know, reward the people here by letting them be a part of that, it's just, it's a real nice culmination. And I'm so proud and happy that, and the word I want to say is we're blessed.
It's a lot of little kids' dreams here in Saskatchewan. You know, if you get your sign put up at your town with you in your hockey uniform and you're still playing professional hockey somewhere, well, that's a thrill. I remember seeing Kelly Buchberger's sign in Langenburg, Saskatchewan with him in his Oilers jersey, and I thought that was the greatest thrill ever. And now to have something put up for myself, it's just fantastic.